Well,
you're
with the
very
size of the book, I like to spread it, I like to be,
not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, so Rand, why don't you go get a towels though?
you want, you have, yeah.
This is my melody for the Kabbalah. This is my melody for the Kabbalah. That's the chorus. Verse. I need to play it. Or just sing it. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's me. Rand. I knew Steve Dershowitz when I was like 10 years old. Huh? Svi. I knew Svi from Sinai Camp from when I was a kid. A little kid. When I was 10 years old, 11 years old. In the old camp, not the new. Yeah, but not the new. You were there when Appy was there, but I was there before. What's his name? Brian Pope. And David Lieber.
Oh, Rand. So, little thing, we're gonna do a BBD make.
Okay.
In the middle of, like, as part of my Torah. But you don't have to worry about that. I got you. You just, I got it. Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's nice to see. This has been one of those weeks where, here, come on in, guys. Shabbat Shalom. Hi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi. Shabbat is, have you ever felt like you just need to go, ah?
Yes.
Yeah. Shabbat is that. That's what Shabbat is. It's just that collective exhale that you breathe out at the end of the week. And so looking around the room, it's been a week. And it's been a time that there's time for the exhale. But Shabbat's also not only the exhale, but it's the reminder that despite the many challenges, that there is also a time for possibility and happiness, and that still exists in the world. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But right now, so the thing happened this week. The cantor was singing so much that her voice just disappeared. So, which actually made the office very quiet, because usually I hear the cantor singing along in the office, and it was quiet. And so I started singing along in the office, and everyone told me to shh, because I have a terrible voice. So since I have a terrible voice and was told to shh in the office, we had to call Rand Harris, past president of Adat Ariel, out of the bullpen, because it is Shabbat and it is opening. You're a baseball fan.
Yeah, sure.
That's right. So this is your call to the bullpen. Right. So Rand Harris is our ace reliever. You're like the, what's it, Hanley Jensen? Who's the Dodgers relief pitcher?
Well, he's been traded, but
They traded that guy? Oh my.
a couple of years ago.
Couple of years ago, a little bit behind. Who's the relief pitcher now? Another person.
Yeah.
Someone else. Okay, but today you are our all-star relief pitcher. And so we're going to begin, and thank you for being here with the cantor's absence. We're going to begin with Shalom Aleichem on page 5 in these red books. Or you don't even have to worry about the page. You can just put your arm around one another and sing a little bit. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom, shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, malachei elyon.
Everyone stand up.
Mi melech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Chuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamelachim, kadosh baruch hu. Tzeidchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mi melech, malachei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
And we can all be seated as we continue with Yedid Nefesh on page 10. Page 10, Yedid Nefesh. I'm going to help you with the mic. Otherwise, the people at home are not going to hear you.
Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshoch avdecha, el retzonecha, meshoch avdecha, Lai, 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 el retzonecha. Yarutz avdecha, kemo ayal, yishtachaveh, lai, 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 yemul hadararach. Yedid nefesh nefesh av harachaman, yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshoch avdecha, el retzonecha, meshoch avdecha, lai 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 lai, el retzonecha.
And we're going to continue on page 11 with Lechuna Ranana. Lechuna Ranana, it says in my notes, fast. So this is going to be a good one to clap along to, Rand? Is that true?
Well, it's not necessarily that one. We're doing.
So
it's,
no.
It's,
so it'll either be a good one to clap along to or not.
it can clap.
Okay, you can clap. Even if it's not a good one to clap along to, you can still clap.
Right.
You're very flexible. I like this.
Lechu neranena, neranena ladonai, naria, naria, letzor yisheinu. Lechu neranena, neranena ladonai, naria, letzor yisheinu. Nekad mafanav, nekad mafanav, nekad mafanav, betovoda. Bizmirot, bizmirot, nariya halo. Bizmirot, bizmirot, nariya halo. Join me. Lechu neranena, neranena ladonai, naria, naria, letzor yisheinu. Again. Lechu neranena, neranena ladonai, naria, letzor yisheinu. Arba'im shana akut bador ve'omar amto elevav heim ve'hem lo yadu drachai asher nishbati va'api Im yavoun el menuchati.
Page 13.
Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, shir chadash. Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, kol haaretz. Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, shir chadash. Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, kol haaretz. Shiru ladonai, barechu shemo basru miyom liyom, Yeshuato. Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, shir chadash. Shiru, 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 shiru ladonai, kol haaretz.
Okay. We're going to turn to page 23. We're going to turn to page 23. And this is Lecha Dodi, where we customarily greet the Shabbat, and we refer to the Shabbat as our bride. And it's a beautiful image because Shabbat is supposed to liven the soul. And so for those of you who are asking, about how can you, how do you sort of reconcile that? How do you sort of liven the soul even when some experiences are objectively sad or objectively dark? And it's why during Shiva, that even the one time that you're supposed to come out of the house in the middle of Shiva is Shabbat, right? Like Shiva counts, so there are several families here who are in Shiva, and Shiva is not suspended for Shabbat. It still counts. Shabbat counts as one of the days of Shiva, but it's unlike any other day of Shiva in that you leave your home and you go into the shul, and you're supposed to still celebrate Shabbat. Some people modify it, some people modify their participation, but the thrust of the tradition is this idea that that maybe Shabbat serves as as sort of a beacon or a light that reminds us that even in objectively sad times, that light still does exist. That light still exists in this world, and it may seem faint, and that's understandable, and it may be hard to focus on, and that's certainly understandable, and it may seem in the distance, and that is also understandable, but nevertheless, light still does exist, and that we are here as part of the community to help you one day find that light. Maybe we'll all think about that as we're singing Lecha Dodi and welcoming Shabbat with Rand on page 23. Page 23. For those of you who came late, Rand stepped out of the bullpen as the cantor came down with something and her voice went absent. And so Rand stepped in, and we are very appreciative of him being here this evening. So we're going to continue with Lecha Dodi on page 23.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el ha'amyuchad. Adonai echad ushmo echad, L'shem ultiferet velit hilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'macha Shabbat techila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Mikdash melech ir melucha, Kumitzei mitocha hafecha. Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, Vehu yachamol alayich chemla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. Hit orri, kiva orech kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla. And now I would ask everyone to rise, please. On page 25, in the middle of the page, as we greet the Shabbat bride, Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula, Bo'i chala, Bo'i chala. Everybody, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla, lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabla.
At this point in the service, everyone can remain standing, but in most traditional circles, this is a time when you acknowledge those in mourning who are still observing their, who are still in their Shiva. So we say, Hamakom yinachem etchem betok shara avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God grant you comfort amongst the mourners of Zion in Jerusalem. And maybe the reason that they place that greeting after Lecha Dodi is with the hope that the beauty of Shabbat, again, can remind us of the possibility of light and love and happiness in this world. And to that, we certainly feel that for all of you here who are in mourning. And we all say to that, Amen.
Amen.
We're going to light the Shabbat candles. So we are going to, actually first page 27, because I forgot, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat. And we can, just stay up standing for this one. You're okay. Page 27.
Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai, Uzamer L'Shimcha El Elyon, Le'agid Baboker Chasdecha, Ve'emunatcha Balelot, Alei Asur Ve'alei Nahavel, Alei Higayon Bechinor, Ki simchtani Adonai befoalecha, b'maaseh yadecha aranein. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov leodot l'Adonai.
Actually, Rand, we're still going to need you over here, so we're going to ask the Shapiros to come forward, and they are going to light the Shabbat candles for us.
Okay, okay. Page.
How the Yer Shel Shabbat. Don't worry about the page. It's okay.
I don't need it again.
But maybe into the microphone. Rand, there you go.
Amen.
And may this be a Shabbat of peace and of rest for the soul. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Please remain standing as we continue with the Baruch Hu. And the Baruch Hu can be found on page 39b. Page 39b, the Baruch Hu.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach leolam va'ed. Hamevorach, hamevorach leolam va'ed.
We can all be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher.
Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravi.
Ahavat Olam, page 40. This young man's going to do the Shema for us.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha, Amecha ahavta. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha, Amecha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim, Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim, Torah u'mitzvot Hukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kain, al kain, al kain, Adonai Eloheinu, beshochveinu uvkumenu, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם
לבניך
ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Thank you to Kai for leading us in the Shema and the Via Hafta. And we'll continue silently on page 42. V'hayim Shemo Tishmo, etc.
Adonai Elohechem, Amen.
Page 43a. V'emunah kol zot v'kayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu v'yitzulato v'na'am Yisrael. And then page 44, right at the top of the page. Umalchuto bratzon kiblu aleihem.
Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem. Moshe uMiriam uvnei Yisrael lechanu shira v'simcha rabba ve'ameru kulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh nora tehilot Yosef ele Malchutecha Ravanecha Bokei Ayam Lifnei Moshe Ze Eli Anu ve'ameru Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar Kifat Adonai et Yaakov Ugyalo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
The Hashkivenu, our evening prayer for peace, page 45.
Just read it. You can read it in English or Hebrew or whatever, or I'll just do the end.
Oh, okay, sure. You know what, let's read together in the English on page 45. Let's read together, beginning with Allow us, Adonai. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. And let us all say, Amen.
Ushmor tzetenu vo'enu lechaim u'leshalom me'ata ve'ad olam ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Please rise, Vishamru, page 46.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום אחרון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו 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 אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי 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 דקודשה דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה, ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דהמירן בעלמא, ואמרו 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 amen.
The Amidah is recited silently for the Mariv service. The traditional liturgy begins on page 47 and concludes on page 52. Allow this to be a time of your own personal prayers and reflections. And when you've concluded your Amidah, please be seated. And we'll continue with Shalom Rav on page 51. Actually, we're going to go straight to Pari Shalom. We'll just do Shalom Rav and we'll go to Pari Shalom. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to go say
do
Shalom,
you want to
but
go say Shalom?
that's
Yeah,
all
we
right.
can do
We can do say Shalom.
Chazin's
Rav,
choice.
Either
So
way.
Rand comes out of the bullpen. He gets to decide what he wants to do. So he said he wants to do Osei Shalom.
Curveball.
It's a curveball, exactly. It's more of like a slider, but, you know, it's all right.
Osei Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. יתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון וחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם מעלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא וירדר וירעלה וירעלל שמי לקודשא בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו יתקבל צלותון ובדהון דכל ישראל קדם אבהון שמיה ואמרו יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו Amen.
Thanks, Rand. I'll talk for I'm going to talk a little bit.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I don't know if you know this, but this is a big Shabbat. It's Shabbat Hagadol. And so the question, of course, is why the name Shabbat Hagadol for this Shabbat? Okay, so why not? That's an interesting way of, because this Shabbat, why would it seem like a good Shabbat? Exactly, right before Passover. And so you're kind of like getting into your Jewish game, right? You're kind of like getting your matzah out. We have like shelves now in our kitchen that we will use, shelves that we're not going to use, a little bit of food left, and you're kind of like getting ready for the big Seder coming up this week. And you'd think that maybe that there would be, just like leading into Purim, that there would be like special Torah readings or a special Haftarah. It's not true. There's nothing different about tomorrow's service. So then why do we call it Shabbat HaGadol? There's actually nothing. Go ahead. I missed the first part. What did you say?
It's also kind of ironic that this is the Shabbat Gadol because early Jews before Pesach.
Oh, that's right. Exactly right. Like, right. Exactly. So it should be like maybe Shabbat HaGadol should be the Shabbat after Passover, like that first one after Passover when we're like, Micha Mocha, we made it. Now, like let's celebrate, like because we're not really Jews until there's that's really what the book of Exodus is about. The book of Genesis is the genesis of the world and the first Jewish family, but it's not until there's these unifying national experiences, oppression and then freedom, and then Matan Torah, the deliverance of the Aseret Dibrot, the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai that kind of like stick us together as a nation. So there's actually a very practical idea for Shabbat HaGadol, and you'll kind of laugh. Rabbis kind of roll their eyes a little bit at this, because on Shabbat HaGadol, the rabbi would traditionally stand up in the service and talk forever. The rabbi would go on and on and on. And it wasn't about spiritual matters. It was about like, you can't eat that, you shouldn't do that, you can't do this. I just went over with our preschool, which is open during Chol HaMoed, how we're going to keep kosher for Passover. And they said, we're not hiring a fancy caterer, we'll make lunch. And so I went over with the staff, and by the end of the meeting, one of the ladies who works in the preschool office was like, oh boy, we got more than we bargained for. Like there's a lot here. And that is true. And so on Passover, the rabbi would go over all of the details of all of the laws of Passover. And that went on forever. Shabbat HaGadol. I'm not going to do that today. There you go. I knew I'd get an ovation. But what I am going to say is that there's one interesting thing about Passover, which is that on the Seder plate, or actually throughout the evening, every symbol that we experience on Passover is symbolic of one of two things, or maybe both at once. It's either a symbol of freedom, a symbol of slavery, or some can be a symbol of both at the same time. So think about it. The whole Seder evening is mirrored like a Greek symposium. Remember how the Greeks used to sit back and like eat grapes? That's why we recline to the left. We drink 4 cups of wine because we're like free people. We bring pillows to the table because we're all like luxurious and kind of relaxed and fancy. We wash other people's hands because we are like emulating that we have like servants and people who can, provide for us. And on the other hand, we remember a time of great oppression. We eat maror. We eat the bread of affliction, matzah. So Passover, if you think about it, pretty much every symbol in the entire evening, or every ritual, or even every word is one of two things. It's either about slavery, it's about freedom. It's either about, and it's interesting that one evening can contain such two polar opposite feelings. And that's a little bit like how many of you are feeling today. Because there is the maror here. There is the sadness. But then Michelle called me, and she added the charoset to my day. Right? So there is the maror, which is the sadness and the loss of Andrea Berman. But then Michelle and Ben, her husband, called me and said, and I met this beautiful baby during the Shiva Minyan. And I also met her big sister. Where's the big sister? I need you to come on up over here. Now, the only thing I'm a little upset about is, didn't you tell me that I could sign your cast? You told me I could sign your cast, but I can't sign it on Shabbat, so I'll get a rain check, okay?
No one's going to sign it.
Ooh, okay. So I'll be the first.
No.
I'll be the not signing cast. Okay. So when Michelle called me and said, we've been friends with the Bermans for a very long time. Your second date you mentioned was that was when they met you guys, and you've been part of each other's lives ever since then for a long time, and you've shared in life, and you've shared in some wonderful celebrations and some challenges, and there's no doubt that this is a maror, right? This is a challenge, that that what you're going through now, no one should have to taste maror that bitter. So we want to cut the maror with the charoset, with the sweetness of the charoset. And that's a perfect cue to allow Michelle and Ben to come on up with their baby. And we're going to give your baby sister her Hebrew name today. Does that sound like a good idea? All right, let's do it. Okay. Hello, sunshine. Wow. She's like, hello, world. Eliza. So this is Eliza. Hi, Eliza. Yeah. And Eliza is going to get a very special Hebrew name. Now, what I need some help. I need a helper here. Finley, can you help me? Okay, now, are you ready? You're going to be a good helper? Okay, now, Finley, can you hold this book for me? Open, and my eyes don't work as well as they used to, so you got to kind of like, hold it up higher. I can't look that small. My gosh, I know you only got one hand to work with, but you won't let me sign the cast, so you get what you pay for. Okay, I am going to make a blessing now for your entire family, and especially over this beautiful baby, but also over you, because you, my dear, need to be like I can tell you're a great big sister. Yeah? What are some things that you do to help out the baby?
Wow.
Do you let...
You sing to her.
You sing?
Always sing to her.
You sing to the baby? Okay, good. We're all going to sing Siman Tov Mazel Tov after. David, you hear that? Siman Tov Mazel Tov after. But right now we're going to make a bracha, a blessing for this beautiful baby, okay? Misha Berach Avotinu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et Ha'isha Hayoledet ve'et Yalda Hanolda La B'Mazel Tov v'Yikra Shma B'Yisrael Chaya Bat Binyamin U'Michal HaKodesh Baruch Hu Yimlei Rachamim Alehem V'yihu zchut lehem legadla leTorah ulechuppah ulemaasim tovim v'nomar amen. Do you know what we said in there? How's your Hebrew? So what we said is that we want to raise this beautiful baby. That's okay. That we want to raise this beautiful baby in a home where she understands that it's filled with love and friendship with you, and that she always feels hugs from your parents, and that her name in Israel will be known as, you're yawning in synagogue already. This is Shabbat HaGadol. I've already gone on too long. But her name is going to be known as Chaya. And Michelle, do you want to tell everyone why, a little bit about that name? Is that okay? It's okay if you cry.
Chaya, it was Andrea's Hebrew name, and Andrea was one of the biggest part of my life, aside from my family here. And she gave Finley one of the greatest gifts, which was her love of the water. And I wanted to give Eliza a special gift of Andrea. And so we asked Andrea and Richard if we could please name her in her honor.
Yes. Oh, you want the microphone. And I just want to say that Chaya means, it comes from obviously the word Chai or Chaim, which means life. And so it's our hope and prayer that your Hebrew name will always be the source of life for you, and that within this beautiful baby, a piece of your mom's soul, a piece of Andrea's soul will always reside within. May you, my dear, and may your entire family continue to be a family that demonstrates love and enthusiasm for life and all those beautiful things which Andrea so embodied. And let us all say, Amen. Let's sing Siman Tova Mazel Tov. David.
Siman Tova, Mazel Tov,
Siman Tova Mazel Tov, Siman Tova Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Siman Tova, Siman Tova, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman
Want to dance with me?
Tova.
I'll dance with your dad.
Yehelanu, Uveko Yisrael. Yehelanu, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Yehelanu.
I can already see you've got some built-in babysitters here. And I just want to Richard and you, Kai and Naya, to your entire family, thanks for allowing the Charoset to help kind of be present, because there is the Maror. But don't forget about the Charoset. Don't forget about the Charoset. And the Charoset was found in so many other places this week. I was so moved and touched to see how many people showed up. And this is the one thing that I asked you to remember this whole time, right? One thing, and I keep repeating at the same time because rabbis kind of give the same speeches over and over and over again. But I don't believe that God is in the maror. I don't believe God is in that bitterness. I don't believe that God is in the cancer. I believe that God's in the charoset. I think that God is in the relationships with people who want to remember your mom and want to keep the essence of her soul very much alive and present in this world. And so what a privilege it is to be here, to have that charoset with us, to have this beautiful baby and such a beautiful family with which to mark this Shabbat. And so we wish Chaya a long life filled with happiness. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
We're going to ask everyone to now please rise for the Kiddush.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, לשבת קודשך באהבה וברחמים רצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Rand only took a little sip because he's getting warmed up for, you got to drink 3.5 more of those on Passover. Okay.
Grape juice.
Oh, grape juice. Okay. What's that? Oh, he is definitely throwing a no-hitter for sure. We're going to continue with Aleinu on page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשה בגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו בהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונם. הורים ומשחקים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
In love, we recall those who no longer walk this earth, and we are grateful to God for the gift of their lives and for the cherished memories that never fade. This week, we as a congregational community mourn the passing of Bernard Smith, the uncle of Penina Van Gelder, Rabbi Tzvi Dershowitz, the father of Toby Dershowitz, and we also mourn the passing of Andrea Berman. This Shabbat, we also continue to mark the Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of Deli Weisberg, Dr. Harold Jerome Stolberg, Barbara Ann Summers, Trana LeBeau, Irene Shanes, David Berman, and Rochel Kotkova. And on this coming week, we'll observe the yurtzites of Lillian Bloom, Celia Godfrey, Rosie Goldstein, Rappaport, Minnie Schwartz, Marvin Slavic, Deborah Altman, Yitzchak Aronoff, Hy Cohen, Eugenia Friedman, Benjamin Gervis, Martin Shapiro, Gus Simon, Jonathan Tobin, Daniel Wagner, Claire Weiss, Betty Welsh, David Zerner, Saul Barrel, Samuel Dovertz, Simon Goldberger, Fred Lesserman, Lilia Steinberg-Neiman, George Protis, Luba Rosman, Samuel Schwartz, Andrew Jacob Torres, Robert Greenspan, Milton Herstick, Arnold Lerner, Sam Muncie, Gail Ornstein, Irving Small, Leah Sperling, Paulina Wilder, Sheldon Bass, Estelle Funk, Byron Cohen, David Leonard, Min Leonard, Paul Rabinick, B.B. Simon, Nathan Sweetbaum, Jacob Freeman, Ray Grun, Esther Matloff, Harry Sirota, Saul Turtletaub, Jack Blackstone, Elsie Bostwick, Oscar Cohen, Judith Goldner, Nechama Kaddish, Francis Mendelson, May Small, and Charles Tarlow. Is there anyone else observing a yurtzeit for someone I didn't mention? Are you mourning for someone I didn't mention? Go ahead. Ruth Lerman. At this point, as I ask the mourners to please rise. Just want to say to you, Toby, and to Eitan, when we're thinking about Rabbi Tzvi Dershowitz, who was one of the giants of the Los Angeles Jewish community, who was a rabbi to so many, who was not only a rabbi, but he was like a rabbi's rabbi, right? A rabbi to all of the rabbis. And may his memory continue to endure, and may it continue to be a blessing. And then to you, Richard, and your entire family, as you mourn the passing of your wife, Andrea, as you mourn the passing of your mom, may the beauty of her soul continue to live in here forever. We'll invite we'll invite everyone who is reciting Kaddish this evening to please join me. Mourner's Kaddish, page 58. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma Divrach Yiruteh v'yamlich Malchuteh B'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'galau v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah M'varach Le'olam Omei Almaya Yit Barach v'yishtabach v'yit Pa'ar v'yit Romam v'yit Naseh v'yit Tadar v'yit Taleh v'yit Talal Shmei Dekudesha Barichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata v'shirata Tush Bechata v'nechamata Damiran b'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. O say Shalom b'Romam Huya aseh Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru Amen. And may the memory of all of our loved ones be a source of comfort and blessing, and may the brightness of their souls stay with us forever. And let us all say, Amen. We're going to conclude our service in just a moment. I would be remiss if not only I was to, of course, we need to thank David Kaminer for providing our musical accompaniment this evening. So thank you to David, but a real special Yesher Koach to Rand Harris, who stepped in at the last minute. Again, the cantor lost her voice quite suddenly, and your other option was me, and that's not a good option. Anyway, we are grateful for you, Rand, for stepping in and for leading services. There's lots of Passover services coming up. If you haven't yet sold your chametz and like to sell your chametz, just go to the .Ariel website, click on Passover, all the information, how to sell your chametz, how to kosher your house. If life is kind of like gotten away and you want to make reservations here for the Passover Seder, or for either the first night or the second night, we're having a Jammies in Jeans Passover Seder for preschoolers, and it's going to have hot dogs and French fries. If that's more your speed, then you can come to that as well. Whatever really does it for you. But we're here and we're open. So we'd love for you to be part of this community in whatever capacity you can. Again, I want to thank Rand. We want to thank David. We're going to conclude our service with Yigdal on page 62.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ויהנית אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוף אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו. הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפן נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומביט את אמונתו. תורתם את נתן לעמו אל, על יד נביאו נאמן ביתו. לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו. צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו. גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו. ישלח לי עץ ימין משיחנו, לפתות מחכה קץ לשועתו. מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. מתים יחיה אל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm always the bullhead. I'm always warmed up.
Thank you. You did a really great job. Shabbat shalom. Bad credit. And he loved it. Very sorry for your loss. You're happy. Shabbat shalom.
With Gmail or is it is Gmail?
So sorry about me. I'm so sorry I couldn't be at the funeral. Yeah. Say hello to everybody in the family, okay? Give them all my love, okay? All right. And keep all this stuff. I can't keep it. You can add whatever notes you want to the document and send it to me, but send it to not Hamid or Ayala. That is history gone.